This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Did you all see this? Matthew Mcconaughey, all right. He was born in Uvalde, Texas, and he was at the White House yesterday. He gave a very emotional speech calling for gun reform. If you did miss it, we have it here. Take a look.
Look, we heard from so many people, right? Families of the deceased, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, Texas Rangers, hunters, Border Patrol, and responsible gun owners who won't give up their Second Amendment right to bear arms. And you know what they all said? We want secure and safe schools, and we want gun laws that won't make it so easy for the bad guys to get these damn guns. We need responsible gun ownership. Responsible gun ownership. We need background checks. We need to raise the minimum age to purchase an AR-15 rifle to 21. Can both sides rise above? Can both sides see beyond the political problem at hand and admit that we have a life preservation problem on our hands?
Now, as he mentioned, Matthew and his wife spent last week visiting with the families of victims in Texas. He did get emotional at one point speaking about that. Take a look at this moment.
Maite wore green high-top Converse with a heart she had hand-drawn on the right toe because they represented her love of nature. Camilla's got these shoes. Can you show these shoes, please? Wore these every day. These are the same green Converse on her feet that turned out to be the only clear evidence that could identify her after the shooting. How about that?
Just want to get your quick take on what you think of this. Do you think it'll change anybody's mind? Erica, what did you think of Matthew McConaughey coming out and doing this? What were your thoughts?
I think, there are times in all of our lives where there's this intersectionality of all these things that come together, and I feel like that's when when we meet our moment. And I think that we're seeing Matthew McConaughey really meet his moment. I mean, there were so many elements to this. The idea that he was publicly pontificating about running for office.
Correct, yeah.
The fact that he's from Uvalde. The fact that Matthew McConaughey is a person who is identified in our pop culture who, regardless of what your background is and who you are, everybody kind of has this affinity for Matthew McConaughey.
He's nonpartisan kind of.
Right,
yeah,
right. So I think we're seeing someone really meet the moment and be very impassioned about stating things that we're all feeling.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see people use their platforms in this way.
Yeah.
It's inspiring, and I'm glad that he stepped up to the plate.
Yeah, I agree. I can't stop thinking about green Converse this morning. That's all I keep thinking about, those images. Now, Al, I want to get your take on this. There's some critics who say Matthew is being hypocritical, calling for a gun reform on one hand, while also portraying characters in movies that use firearms and end up glorifying guns. Can you speak on that is that to you hypocritical?
Absolutely not. He's doing his job as an actor.
I know.
That is using whatever storyline that he's following, and sometimes those storylines involve guns. Sometimes they involve swords. Sometimes they involve hobbits. I don't think we need to bring that into this conversation, because what that conversation does, Tori, is it stamps upon what Erica was just saying, that we all, the three of us here, our viewers, Matthew McConaughey, for the most part, 98% of people are like, we're not saying get rid of them. It's impossible anyway. It's just saying let's put some rules around it. You have to be 25 to rent a car. Come on. So, I think I love to use the R word, responsible.
I agree.
Responsible. That's okay. Everybody's fine to be responsible. Car owner, responsible. Pet owner, responsible gun owner. So I like the words he's using. I like the language. I like the way he's communicating.
And I like that he brought up two gun owners. I think he was mostly speaking to those people who have guns that totally see this as a possibility. And he's saying, I loved in the beginning, he said, we're not that separated. We're not that divided. I thought it was a great speech. Let us know what you think. I also want to let you know that that today some Uvalde and Buffalo survivors will be testifying before Congress. One of them is named Mia Cerrillo. This is her father. We're not going to show Mia. She is the 11-year-old who had to smear blood on her body as she saw her two teachers get shot through the window. They were watching Lilo and Stitch. An 11-year-old 2 weeks ago smeared blood, pretended to be dead, is now testifying in front of Congress. She also has a GoFundMe out there because she is terrified of men. And when CNN had to interview her, she requested no man interview her, this 11-year-old, and she wanted not to be on camera. So they are having a GoFundMe for therapy, which is outside of Uvalde. She is in deep, deep trauma, and she is still testifying before Congress, which I just can't even imagine. What do you guys think about Mia? Isn't that hard to hear?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially like, you know, these are very much formative years, and these children, you know,
I know.
I just wonder.
Not to have a man in there. It was so interesting to me.
I just wonder, like, it's not, obviously the kids in Uvalde, but all the other kids, because I remember what struck me, and this is so many school shootings ago, Erica, when, you know, there was a shooting at Santa Fe, which people don't even talk about anymore. But at the Santa Fe visual, the Parkland kids, before Parkland had happened, was saying, is our school next? And it was.
And it was next, I know.
And so, like, these kids must be terrified.
Yeah.
Because it's likely to happen to somebody that you know in your universe or yourself. This isn't some weird thing. I remember I was like terrified of tornadoes when I was a little kid.
You had no reason to be here.
Yeah, I was in Cleveland. It's not happening. But even though tornadoes do, but anyway, you know, I think about how scared I was of that, and that was like kind of a frivolous, silly thing, you know, that you're scared of when you're 10. I can't imagine with these kids being 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, being scared, and then it happens, and then your mom says, it's okay, it'll never happen again. And then it happens the night that she's telling you that. And then your dad says, don't worry about it in the morning. And then it happens that next morning.
Right.
These kids all must have PSD that psychologists have not even begun to explore yet. And I think we're going to see it when these kids turn 18, 20, 25, and all of us will be all boomers at that point. And we'll be, why are they acting like this? These kids are all acting out. It's because of this right here. So remember this 10 years from now.
But Al, you know, I think about it in a couple different ways, because I remember being very young. I think I was in kindergarten when the first person that I knew got shot and killed in front of my aunt's house, and we were in the back of the house. So when I think about these situations and how kids are forced to deal with gun violence, very out of the blue violence, I think about kids who grow up like this, you know, like people who have survived, you know, gun violence in their communities, like how the mind tricks you or like makes you more aware of things, how like your response level is different. The idea of this little girl saying she doesn't want any men around, like there's definitely things that are in my mind I think of, or I'm like more cautious of because of things that I've seen.
Right.
And I wasn't even, you know, in a situation where that was a lifelong thing. A lot of people, that's a lifelong thing. And now we've normalized this in America because at a certain point before, no one cared because it was coming from, you know, communities of color. It was coming from communities that were under-resourced. And now it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
And that shows you that we have to all be in this together because it affects all of us at some point.
I agree. I want to give you guys some stats to leave you with. 73% of mass shootings around the world over the last 20 years were in the United States. Between 1998 to 2019, the U.S. reported 816 deaths from mass shootings. France was second with 179. Finally, 99% of mass shooters are male, and 1/3 of mass shooters have military experience. It's important to know who the enemy is and who we're dealing with. Coming up on DBL, we are going to go ahead and take a 180 turn or a 90-degree turn, whichever one is a
180.
A 180, thank you.
A 90-degree would just be okay.
All right, to our interview with the amazing Laura Dern. What was it like being back on set with all of her old Jurassic Park castmates? And I don't know if you heard, but reality TV stars Todd and Chrisley were found guilty of bank fraud and tax evasion. How much time will they spend behind bars? That's next. Let's go.
Closed captioning provided by
This June, DBL isn't holding back. I've already spent my time and all of my sanity on trying to make you happy.
I like a little cheese on my potatoes. That wasn't going on in my head.
That's what we need more of, conversations in this country like this show. Thank you. DBL is all new every day.
The verdict, what do you think the sentence might be? You can bring up the fact that the wife is facing
Tori, we're going to
more
lean on you for the
charges.
verdict. What you think? I will at least.
Oh, the verdict's in. They're convicted.
I mean, how much time?
Oh, yeah.
On some level, you gotta fake this if you don't know who these people are.
I know.
Oh, no, we know who they are.
Okay.
Didn't
We all know.
you, Todd?
I don't know. I'm just making sure. I
Yeah.
don't want
Okay,
to
was
be
that
like, I
okay?
don't know who they are and I don't care
Okay, I
about
felt
this
like-
kind of
That's how
stuff.
you know they're
It's
famous
the
is because
second
I don't watch
story.
the show and I know who they are.
I
very
felt
well.
like
Yeah, I've never seen the
in
show
my
either,
head,
but
she
I
was
know
second
exactly
story.
what
And
That
I was
when
like,
you
am I
go
wrong?
over
Okay,
to
let me go.
like
That's
people have
perfect.
probably
Thank
never
you.
seen a
Okay.
professional
Thank
women's tennis
you.
match
And
full
then
all the way,
the
but they
next
know
point is
Serena
about
is.
the
That's when
shows.
you're famous.
There's a couple different
when you
questions in there,
crossed
so
over.
you guys can have
And also,
further
this sort of came
conversation.
out because his alleged.
Yeah, don't worry.
but she wants to bring that
I
up.
got the bubba here. So here's the deal. If you guys don't know Todd Chrisley, he was a realtor. I thought he was a preacher for some reason. Anyways, a realtor.
It does seem like
Doesn't he? And he was at this really outlandish personality, and he actually was going into fraud or bankruptcy at one point. But they did a sizzle, and all the networks were like, "This guy's incredible. He's got such a weird, interesting personality." There was a bidding war. USA got it. They hit it big. They had this weird relationship with him and his wife, and the kids got famous. Now they're spin-offs, and it turns out he's a bit of a fraud. It's a big fraud, actually. It's felony. It's bad. It's real bad. It's gonna be about 20 years for each of them, and she might see more because she had obstruction of justice
Do
charges.
rich people do 20 years?
This one will. This one will.
When's the last rich person
Do you know
you
how many
besides
banks
Bernie
he
Madoff?
defrauded?
Bernie-
$30 million he stole. Do you know that's a lot of money?
Hold on, just keep, because we're talking about this next.
Okay, good call. Anyway, if you like the Chrisleys,
On a better
let
note.
me know. Are you
Yeah.
a fan of the Chrisleys? I wasn't.
I've seen the show.
Me too.
You know what? I watch it when I'm on an airplane.
Oh, that's fair.
There's certain things I only.
Welcome back. Ooh, we got some stories. Todd and Julie Chrisley are self-made moguls of reality television. They pull around 2 million viewers on every episode of their show. It's half of what we pull in. Chrisley knows best. They are the most watched original series on USA Network right now. Now, in case you aren't familiar with their show, let's show you a little clippy.
We're determined to help Daddy get over his claustrophobia, so therefore we've come up with a plan to help him face his fears.
We're not going through the damn car wash.
It's so fun.
I don't give a I don't want to go through the car wash.
It's step 1 of immersion therapy. You'll be fine.
Oh my God, look at this, how dark it's getting.
There should be a P. No, not that.
I'm getting out. I'm getting out.
No, Daddy, stop. Stop. Oh my God.
Riveting. For the last 3 weeks, the couple has been in court battling bank fraud and tax evasion charges. And yesterday, a jury
Speaking of washing money.
Good one, Al. The jury found them guilty on all of their counts. Prosecutors say they swindled small banks out of nearly $30 million. Then they filed for bankruptcy to avoid paying more than $20 million in back taxes. The couple could face up to 30 years in prison. What you think of the verdict, the sentence? Were you Chrisley fans?
I want to go first just so I can throw it to Erica. Erica, what would you say about fame?
Fame or shame, it's all the same game.
I thought you would say that. Please continue.
No, people believe in this fake it till you make it mentality so much, but it's like you cannot make it off of fakery. Like, I think people see the perception of it because we see these snapshots and highlight reels on Instagram. But I'm gonna tell you right now, it's always so weird to me when people are like faking things, because really what you're doing is bullying people who aren't on your level that you're showing. Because the people who are really at that level know you ain't got it. They know it's not real. And so when Right, like there's certain things that don't come together. First of all, they had $20 million in fraudulent loans. That shows you privilege right there. That you were able to erase, no, the first 20 that they filed for bankruptcy and erased, right?
Jeez Louise.
So you were able to do that and then get another 10 million. Friend of the show, Buffy Purcell, crawl before you ball. She said they did too much balling and not enough crawling. And let me tell you, because I've been very honest, I went through a bankruptcy almost a decade ago, and I could barely get a loan from the public library after that, okay? I could barely check out a book. So the idea that they're getting another $10 million, that is some bona fide American privilege.
Erica, before I say what I'm going to say, you just unlocked a crazy memory for me, because one of my friends that's a very, 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 very successful entertainer, is wealthy beyond whatever, texted me one day, like a couple years ago, and goes, I just got turned out for a Macy's card. And he was like, it was good, because he was like, I wasn't a rich comic. Like any comic that you see that has good credit, they have rich parents. The poor ones, we all have terrible credit. So like, I get it. So there's no way that they could have done that. And I will say this though, going off what Erica's saying, fame, shame, I think this is going to be good for them. I think this will make their base rally behind them. And I think when they come out, they will have more credibility and more eyeballs on them. Did Lori Loughlin bounce back? I think she did.
Yeah.
Did Martha Stewart bounce back after her felony?
Yes.
Yes, she did.
But
and it was money too.
Yeah, they're looking at 30 years. Like if they served half of that, like the reality show game is going to be in a completely different stratosphere if it's even a thing in 15 years.
Right, really quick, I want to get to this. This is how they were found out. A former male business partner of Todd said the two were involved in an intimate relationship and was one of the people who came forward about the financial crimes.
Isn't he being indicted or serving time too?
I'm not sure, but I know the wife is facing more charges for obstruction of justice. So I don't know about but I know he is claiming an intimate relationship with the Chrisleys.
I'm saying it now. Neither one does more than a year and a half.
I think they're doing 10 plus.
I'm saying it now. I will walk off the show if they get more than 2 years.
A sandwich.
Yes, you're paying though.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Coming up on DBL, our interview with Laura Dern. What did she have to say about reuniting with her Jurassic Park co-stars 30 years later? BD Wong's in it too. Ooh. Again, I'm so excited.
On May 24th, a gunman killed 19 children and 2 teachers in Uvalde, Texas. On June 2nd, President Biden gave a speech calling for more restrictions on gun ownership. In it, he made this claim about the victims of gun violence.
Over the last 2 decades, more school-age children have died from guns than on-duty police officers and active-duty military combined.
Let's verify those statistics. Since 2000, have there been more gun deaths among American children than police and military in the line of duty? Our sources, the CDC, the Department of Defense, and the Officer Down Memorial page. The CDC keeps data on fatal injuries, including the number and age of people killed by guns. According to that data, from 2000 to 2020, nearly 32,000 children under the age of 18 were killed by firearms in America. More than half are homicides, several thousand suicides, and some accidents. This does not yet include deaths from 2021 or 22. For the number of active duty military killed since 2000, we can go to the DoD. Their information says just over 7,000 soldiers and civilian employees have died in America's various post-9/11 military operations. It does not specify cause of death. And for police, the Officer Down Memorial page tracks every line of duty death. They say just over 1,200 law enforcement officers have been killed by guns since 2000. Add that to the just over 7,000 active duty military who died, a number that is not exclusively gun related, and you have about 8,000 deaths. The number of children killed by guns in that time frame, just under 32,000. So we can verify, yes, since 2000, there have been more gun deaths among American children than the combined gun deaths among police and military in the line of duty. In fact, it's nearly 4 times as many. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
If our world's gonna survive, what matters is what we do now.
I could use your expertise.
You coming or what?
Clever girl. Welcome back. Her role in Jurassic Park made her a hit movie star, and now she's back for the latest film of the franchise, Jurassic World Dominion. Check out our interview with the absolutely wonderful Laura Dern.
the Laura Dern. Welcome to DBL. So now that you've had almost 30 years to make up your mind, the question everybody wants answered, what's your favorite dinosaur?
I might still have to say the Triceratops from the original Jurassic Park.
Yes. I know that wasn't real, but you touching his eye and the deal, it was so real. Great job on that. It was emotional. It really was amazing. All right, you delivered one of the most, or some of the most iconic lines from the original movie. One was, "We can discuss sexism in survival situations when I get back."
Yup. We can discuss sexism in survival situations when I get back.
My favorite is,
"Dinosaurs eat man. Woman inherits the earth."
So how does Jurassic World Dominion continue flipping the script on gender roles and sexism? Because it's kind of a feminist movie in a way.
Well, bless you for saying it. We wanted this female partner and equal in this action film, which was very rare at the time.
Yeah, 93.
And with the lines that I was privileged to get to say. And with Bryce Dallas Howard and now DeWanda Wise, it's a gorgeous thing to be in this film with really extraordinary, strong, badass women that feel like real equals in the storytelling.
So, Laura, we talked on the show about the 20-year age gap between you and Sam Neill and what it would be like if it was actually reversed. What made you see that relationship differently?
I'll be honest, at the time that we made that movie,
it was...
no one even thought about it.
Yeah, I know.
So what's amazing is we're having a conversation. Let's just put it this way. This junket, you guys are asking that question. When we made the first movie, no one asked me.
That's so interesting.
I was the perfect age for a, actor in his 40s.
So we have evolved.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes, so we have evolved. And he's a very charming, dashing man, and I'm very lucky to be back with him, and such a beautiful actor. So I wouldn't want it any other way now that we're back together, but it is an interesting question about Hollywood.
Yes.
That's, well, I have to ask you because, like in the actual movie, a hurricane hit Hawaii while you were filming the original Jurassic Park. How did that affect the cast and crew? Because I've been through a couple and they're no fun.
They are no fun. And it was close, and it was terrifying, and it made us family forever. Stephen and his wife, Kate, when my son was born, came to the hospital. Like, we're family. Because you go through something like that. And then I returned, and we all moved in together because we were in a global pandemic.
Right. Wow.
So we have experienced many things together, and this is a very deep family now with this new cast.
Stephen came to the hospital to meet my children.
Spielberg? Yep.
Spielberg.
Sure. Good old Steve.
Jeff Goldblum delivered my children.
I am Jeff Goldblum.
So sweet. Oh, I didn't mention, he also delivered my children also.
He's a doctor.
Wow, Laura, thank you so much for chatting with us. Be sure to watch Jurassic World Dominion, premiering June 9th in theaters. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Great to see you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Parents will do whatever it takes to make sure their children don't have empty bellies. That's why this nationwide formula shortage is fueling desperate measures to find even just one can of the precious commodity. Amplifying the stress is both the mom guilt and mom shaming, stemming from a social media culture that is too quick to criticize. One of the most common questions raised amid the shortage, why not just breastfeed? Let's verify. Is it even possible to reestablish breastfeeding after stopping? The answer, yes, but relactation, as it's called, is much easier said than done. Our sources are the La Leche League, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and certified lactation consultant Beth Sanders.
It is possible. It is also difficult. And the longer it has been since a parent breastfed or made milk, the more difficult it is. And this is why I'm really encouraging families right now that if you're currently lactating, continue to do so to the point that you're able.
As breastfeeding slows or stops, the body signals the brain to produce less milk, eventually drying up the supply. Sanders said that's why relactation is most successful if done within a few weeks of stopping. The The process takes a big commitment for sometimes minimal payout. To re-stimulate milk production, the Leche League recommends the mom hand express or pump at least 8 to 12 times a day, including at night, for 20 to 30 minutes. If baby will latch, put him or her to the breast before and after each feeding, and consult a certified lactation consultant who can develop a plan and offer support.
Good nutrition and hydration definitely helps. So just lots and lots of healthy calories going in, lots of hydration and rest. I think one thing that we tend to do in our culture is minimize the importance of rest.
Set realistic expectations. Even if it works, it doesn't always produce enough breast milk for the baby's needs. So the mother might still need to supplement with formula or pasteurized donor milk. That said, Sanders does not recommend mixing breast milk with formula powder because it can make the nutrient concentration unsafe or lead to waste, so offer them separately. In conclusion, yes, we verified relactation is possible in a short window of time, but can be difficult and often requires help from a certified lactation consultant. And relactation is not the big picture solution to the formula shortage. Lactation experts acknowledge if a woman has stopped breastfeeding, there's a reason. For example, a milk allergy, a medical condition, or lack of pumping breaks at work. So in certain circumstances, relactation might not be ideal, and there's no shame in that. With your Verify, I'm Megan Malaris.
Expect to pay more for summer camp this year. Let's connect the dots. According to the American Camp Association, the average cost of day camp has more than doubled from $76 last year to $178 this year. And sleepaway camp has tripled up to $449 a day. A lot of this can be blamed on inflation. The president of the American Camp Association told Yahoo Finance News everything from labor costs, food, supplies, and COVID safety precautions are costing more for summer camps. In 2020, only about 20% were in operation thanks to the pandemic. Last summer, about 2/3 of camps were open. While more are expected to be open this year, it could still be tough to find a camp that fits your budget. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back to DBL. That's the name of our show. Summer is just around the corner, and many of us will be enjoying some fun in the sun, but it's important to protect yourself from the harmful UV rays. So here's a great way to enjoy life outside with Sunsetter. Along with applying sunscreen, wear protective clothing when possible, such as long sleeves, shirts, pants, hats, and sunglasses. Finding some shade is also a great way to keep you and your family protected. With affordable custom features without the custom price, Sunsetter is America's #1 best-selling awning. Spend more time outside and get the best value with Sunsetter. It's been an industry leader for 30 years. That's how old I am. Thank you. Call 1-800-513-6851 or visit sunsetter.com for guaranteed pricing on American-made awnings built to last.
So we're looking at awnings. Yes. Awnings. Shout out to Sunsetter. Yeah, it gets really hot. It's in our backyard.
It gets, and we live close by. It gets like direct sunlight, and you're like on the surface of the sun.
Yeah, we had this conversation because we broke out the porch, cleaned it up, and I was like, it's a little hot out here. Might need a little awning.
Nice, Sunsetter. Expect some calls. We'll see you
Bring
same
that
place,
dress.
Same place tomorrow, same time. Bye.